When I woke up, I saw that Mom was sitting at the table, happily sewing something. Since when do you sew? I know how to sew. I know that, but you hate to do it. Yet here you are, humming away. Oh, hush. What are you sewing, anyway? I'm patching up an old scarf. An old scarf? Which one? It's one of Rick's. He was thinking about donating it to the fabric stores, but I told him I could patch it up for him. Is that part of your job as his assistant? Oh, he told me not to bother, but I insisted. She was smiling, and I could tell she was now a lost cause. I sighed. There was no stopping it now. The intercom lit up. The static-filled voice began an announcement. Camden Community meeting, everyone. Please make your way to the community center as soon as possible. I looked at Mom and she smiled. Are these going to be a weekly thing? I believe so. Come on, I've got to get there early and make sure everything is ready for Rick. I'll leave now with Mom, I guess. Alright, let me get my stuff together. Got ready quickly while Mom urged me on. Then we rushed to the community center. Mom was by the mayor, who had his freshly darned scarf draped around his throat. He was smiling at Mom while preparing to step into the stage. The room was filled with people, and I grabbed a cup of coffee and sat near the back. Good afternoon, everyone. It always brings me so much joy to see all your faces on a day like this. First, let me update everyone on last week's news. The Career Festival was a success. All of our new residents have joined a career and should be fitting in nicely. Resource production is steady as usual, and other than some stormy weather on the horizon, everything appears to be peaceful on the surface. I don't know about peaceful, but sure. He began to drone on, talking about all kinds of things I know nothing about. Announcements and upcoming events I could just read about on the bulletin board. I rubbed the bridge of my nose and sipped my coffee. Hopefully this meeting would be over soon. Eventually, he got off the stage and went straight to my mother. I perked up and watched him pat his scarf and say something to her with a smile. Who is that? I don't know. Do you think our eligible mayor has finally decided to settle down? They giggled like girls several years younger than them. It looks like she's just his secretary or whatever. In all the years we've lived here, have you ever even heard even the smallest rumor about him and a special someone? I stood up and left. I couldn't stomach to hear anymore. Mom could meet me at home later, but for now I needed to go home. I just needed to get out of that crazy cluster of people. I walked back and strongly considered just laying in bed. Then I'd end up waiting for her to come home. I had some time to do something before the day was over. So, what did we do last time? We went to the gym? Or did we go to Icarus? Let's go to, you know what? Let's spice it up. Go to the library, maybe? Sure, why not? Nothing particularly interesting was going on in the library today. There were a few things I could do. There's a few things I could do. Let's do study fitness for work. Wait, study fitness? Really need to study fitness for work. I swore I learned something, new, but now I felt really tired. Time to go back home. Just another day on the security force. I wrote down the citizen complaints and sent them to the right security officer for assistance if it was needed. Same old, same old. Work was over and I had time to kill, so I went to the gym again. Walked in and saw Jude, hey, on the other side of the windows. He was in the greenhouse. I approached him and tapped on the glass. He turned and gave me a small wave. I started to turn away, but he held out some blueberries in his hand, which immediately caught my attention. He chuckled. I couldn't hear it, but I could see the motion. He pointed to the side door, something that would normally be locked, and I started to walk that way. I met him there. Cute. Here, don't tell, well, anyone, I guess? It's not like Brian will notice, or care. Wow, thanks. I popped the little berries into my mouth. They were juicy and sweet. Hey, you said not for me to not expect free food. Hey. Now, if you had told me that you would be giving me free food, then I would have joined, to be honest. You would have won my heart a lot easier. Amazing. Throw all the contraband fruit at me you want. He smirked. I will if you pass me any tech you find. Deal. Jude smiled and gave me a friendly nod. He ducked back behind the door, and I went back to the gym. It was getting late, and I was tired. Time for bed. Did we get a heart for Jude? No! It's okay. I'm okay with just Ava. Okay, coffee before work. Vince let me to know that today was the last day to get my fitness in check. Luckily, I passed his requirements. Couldn't hurt to spend a bit more time at the gym. No problem. Considering every time you go to the gym, you see somebody there and then leave after. You're not really getting the requirements you know, you're not really getting the exercise that you should be getting, so nothing particularly interesting. There are a few things I could do. We'll jog. Sorry, Tabby, I would love to hang out, but I, gotta keep my job. I jogged around the track and let my thoughts clear. It's getting late and I was tired. Alright. My stress is still good. We're still good there. Gotta hit, more coffee. Alright. Target practice and preparation for my monthly exam. I was starting to get better. Same old, same old. Okay. Now let's go to the bar, because we can. It's week 3, day 3, by the way. I know you can't see that. Next time I record this, because I definitely will be recording this again. I love this. I guess I'll do it in a different corner. So that you can see that. Even though it's not that important, but you know. As I walked in, I heard a loud and familiar laugh. I looked over and saw Iris with one hand on Vince's arm and the other on her hip. Oh, okay. Vince seemed nervous and was glancing around the room. Darling, I just feel so much safer that you're the one in charge of protecting us. Yeah, that's my job. Why don't you let me buy you a drink? I'm working, Iris. I can't. Oh, come on. The boss don't have to know. She winked at him. I think yeah, her face. Yeah. Vince, sir, you're needed elsewhere. Oh, come on now. Aren't you ever free, honey? Iris pouted and pushed at Vince's arm. Sorry, Iris. Another time. He made a hasty exit, shooting me a wordless thanks. Iris pouted and turned away to head back towards the bar. She walked away. I heard her swear. Oh, shoot. All the good men in this place ain't got a lick of sense. I tried to smile and approach her. What do you mean as far as you know, he's just trying to do his job, lady. Don't be like that. I'm sure there's someone here who would just adore your company. Oh, aren't you just as sweet as can be? Let me buy you a drink. Me? Yes, you. Am I looking at anyone else right now, sugar? Oh, thanks. She rested her chin in her hand and sighed dramatically. You got yourself someone special? Not really. I just moved here, so. You're young. You'll find someone soon. I just know it. It's not something I've really thought about. Life's too short to spend it alone, honey. Go out and find you some lovin' and make the night something to look forward to. I mean, I appreciate the thought, Iris. But just because I'm not in a relationship doesn't mean I'm alone. I've got my mom, I've got friends, so stop being a creep, maybe. How about that? You've got the cutest little accent, but you're kind of a weirdo. I nodded. I wasn't sure how to respond. Her words were getting a bit slurred as she drank, and her mood was, oh, she's drunk, of course. And her mood was falling. Why don't I walk you home, Iris? You baby doll, go on, don't worry about me. I'll find my way home. She scrunched up her nose and then discreetly motioned with her eyes towards a man who had just stepped up to the bar. Oh boy. Another prey. I nodded, said farewell, and left. The world rattled and roared. A siren began to blare through the intercom system. I could hear it echo throughout all the other homes. Uh-oh. A level 5 dust storm has hit the surface. You said there wasn't supposed to be any storm. Or did he? He said it wasn't going to be that. He did mention a storm, did he? But it wasn't. He said it wasn't going to be that bad. Well, anyway, please stay where you are until further notice. A level 5? Mom was sitting up, her arms wrapped around herself. The ground trembled. I could hear the water moving in the pipes due to the air pressure changes. A level 5. That meant massive tornadoes of dust and fire. Everything in its path would get destroyed within miles. Mom was safe. I was safe. We were underground, but what about Ava? Mom got out of bed and sat at the table, clasping her hands together tightly and rocking back and forth slightly. I went to her side and tried to think. What should we do? Stay where you are, as instructed. Why would you go to the entrance? That sounds like a terrible idea. The annoying alarm was right. The safest thing we could do is stay underground. Maybe we should try going to the community center? I thought we were supposed to stay here. Yes, but the community center... Oh, excuse me. Yes, but the community center is always open, especially in times like this. It's a good place to go and get information. Her eyes seemed distant, but it made sense. There was another tremor. Okay. Maybe the community center would be better than here? I don't think so. We stepped out of the hallway, and Mom was right. A few people were heading that way. There was a small crowd in here. Water had been set out. People sat together and seemed to be seeking comfort and company. When I glanced around, I saw Jude and Gloria. Gloria was handing out water and blankets. Jude was sitting on the floor by himself. Maybe I should check on one of them. Mom put a hand on my shoulder. I'm going to help hand things out, okay? Alright. Aw, man. You want to make me choose between these two cuties? Aw. Jude. Hey, Jude. Jude, you're here? Jude looked up at me and nodded. I sat beside him. I really want a cigarette. Are you drunk? A little. I'm trying to sober up. I wanted to sleep through the storm, but I just couldn't. Even alcohol didn't help. Where's Sam? She locked herself in the storage room at Icarus. Storms bring up a lot of bad memories for me and Sam. My heart sank a little. Jude moved away from me a bit and brought his knees up to his chest. He looked so tired, but I don't know how to help him, so I just sat with him. There was a loud roar above us. The room shook slightly. Everyone paused and it became so quiet you could hear sand move. Then someone entered the room. Their face flushed as they shouted to kill the silence. They kept the doors closed! Really? Even now? They won't let anyone in! There was a small uproar building among everyone in the room. Then there was another tremor. Everyone felt silent again, but this time it was much heavier. I glanced at Jude, but his eyes were closed and he was frowning. I looked towards Gloria and her lips were parted. She stared up towards the noise, her brows scrunched up with curiosity. The distant roar continued, and I just felt cold. My former neighbors, the grouchy old man who lived in the old motorhome in the center of town, the kids, orphans who stayed in the repurposed church, the young couple who were too sweet for their own good, that old lady who never seemed to know where she was but was pleased to be there anyway, the woman who stole my CD player and then denied it when I confronted her, the small group of militia who pretended to protect the town from the Sandmen, the traitors, bitter and suspicious, the broken families that had formed new ones, that guy down the way who always gave us extra food when he had it. I could see their faces flashing through my memories. The storm will have knocked out most of the town. Without power, a lot of those people would be dead by midday. They could try to find shelter. Once the storm passed, they'd need to find shelter, or they need to find somewhere to wait out the hottest hours of the day. Maybe they could get to the power going again, or maybe someone would share a generator that still worked. If the storm hadn't wiped everything out. The room shook again. Before I knew what was happening, Mom had taken me by the hand. She led me home. Got into bed and closed my eyes. I didn't want to think. I didn't want to think. If the doors had been opened, there would be a flood of people here right now. They probably want to conserve energy and resources for Camden, but I wasn't sure if that was the right thing to do. Maybe there was enough to go around? I really didn't know. All of those people were either dead, or else they would be soon. Oh, shit. Oh, I hate this. This is really depressing. I mean, like, yeah, like, I don't know. We seem to be doing pretty well down here, right? It seems like there's stuff to spare. Plenty of food in the greenhouse, it looks like. They serve coffee every morning, so they've got that at least. They've got, and by that I mean, like, obviously they have an abundance of, like, stuff. If they have coffee, then that means they have other stuff. I don't know about the room situation, but it seems like this place goes on for miles. I don't know. I feel like the door should have been opened, but, like, what if we don't have the resources? The door should have been opened. Fuck. Oh, this sucks. All those people I knew, they could have been saved. Eventually my eyes closed and I fell asleep.